Hi everyone. Today we're going to work with a case in German called Accusativ. This class will be the introduction of this case, and we are going to see how we apply it to the definite article, indefinite article, and negative article. Firstly, we will have a quick glance to the nominative case, explained last week. Secondly, we will explain what the accusative case is and how we use it. We will thirdly do a comparison between the two cases, nominative and accusative. And finally, we will do an exercise together to make sure we all understand how this case works in German. Let's get started. Let's revise first what we already know about the nominative case. Could anybody tell us what it is? Correct. In our last classes, we stated that the word nominative is originated from Latin and means nominate. The verb sign, the verb to be in English, will always be the nominative case. So we call the nominative case in German when it is the subject of the sentence that does the action, as in Ich wohne in Manresa, I live in Manresa. Die Frau ist eine Lehrerin. The woman is a teacher. Sie ist keine Frau. She isn't a woman. Okay, we have summarized the main points of the nominative usage in German. We are moving on to the accusative case now. What is the accusative and when do we use it? Well, the accusative is a complement of the sentence. Basically, in 90% of the cases, the direct object of it. And to identify it in the sentences, we will need to pay attention to the verb used in the sentence. Let me give you an example. I give the phone to Anne. Can you identify the direct object here? Yes, the phone. So that is what we all in German called the accusative. We should remember that if sign is already nominative, it cannot be in any case accusative. Once we have identified the verb of the sentence, we will need to pay attention to the articles in it, which are the ones that are going to be affected by the declension. Here are some examples of the verbs that we will always use in accusative. Bestellen, ask for, hören, listen, lesen, read, schicken, send, schreiben, write, trinken, drink, verstehen, understand, schneiden, cut, suchen, look for. But we still have more verbs that need to be used in accusative. Therefore, I will handle you a list of verbs when finishing the class. Let's now see how the declension in accusative will affect to the articles. Please pay attention to this slide. As we can observe, the declension in accusative only affects to the masculine articles. That's good news, because the other articles will remain the same. The accusative case is one of the easiest declinations in German, but we will learn more in next classes. Should we compare now with the nominative case? Pay attention now to the following slide. Let me give you now some examples so you can see better the accusative in context. I'm going to give you now examples with the definite article. Ich suche den Hammer. I look for the hammer. Ich bestelle die Pizza. I ask for the pizza. Du liest das Buch. You read the book. Ich habe die Bücher. I have the books. Let me give you now examples with indefinite article. Ich suche einen Hammer. I look for a hammer. Ich bestelle eine Pizza. I ask for a pizza. Du liest ein Buch. You read a book. Ich habe Bücher. I have some books. And finally, let me give you examples with the negative articles. Ich suche keinen Hammer. I don't look for a hammer. Ich bestelle keine Pizza. I don't ask for a pizza. Du liest kein Buch. You don't read a book. Ich habe keine Bücher. I don't have any books. Let's now do an exercise together so we can make sure we all understand its function and clarify any doubts if there are some. To do this exercise, we will work in pairs so it can help us to share our knowledge and comment our doubts. Please look for a partner. You will work in pairs for 5 minutes and together with your classmate, you will need to translate the following sentences as well as underline the part of the sentence that you think has the function of accusative. Remember that you need firstly to identify the verb of the sentence and secondly the articles before the nouns, so you can do the declension. Use your dictionaries to look for the right articles if necessary, or feel free to ask me directly for it. Here are the sentences. The camera is not here. He looks for the camera. The shoes are not here. She looks for the shoes. Do you need an umbrella? No, thanks. I don't need an umbrella. Do you need a coat? No, thanks. I don't need a coat. As this is our first contact with the new declination, don't get scared about making mistakes. It is quite normal. Little by little, we will get used to quickly identify which are the verbs that require the declination in accusative. Let's now correct the exercise. Please read aloud each sentence so we can also practice pronunciation at the same time. Der Fotoapparat ist nicht da. Sucht den Fotoapparat. Die Schuhe sind nicht da. Sie sucht die Schuhe. Brauchst du einen Regenschirm? Nein, danke. Ich brauche keinen Regenschirm. Brauchst du einen Mantel? Nein, danke. Ich brauche keinen Mantel. We can see now how important the articles of the nouns in German are. As we have seen in this lesson, we will use the accusative as the indirect object in English. We will identify the verb and the articles in the sentences to do a perfect declension. Well, in our last class, we will see how we apply the accusative case, when we use it as an object pronoun, and when we find a specific series of prepositions. See you next class.